boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. We'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. We are having some technical difficulties. Hey, it's par for the course. It's Blog Talk. So you can interact with me and Robert. You may not be able to hear Beeb, though. But if you go to beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com right now, you can go on there and you can see our live broadcast where you should be able to hear everything. We should be able to hear it with no problem. All right, so go ahead and go there. And you can also ask us questions in the chat over there, too. So there you go. Today, we're going to talk about Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua getting closer. How close? We'll tell you. Bobby Ches finds himself in our train wreck of the week this week. But first, we get started with the Showtime broadcast. Claressa Shields versus Hanna Gabriels for the IBF and WBA middleweight title. Claressa Shields got off the canvas for the first time in her career to beat Hanna Gabriels via unanimous decision by the scores of 97-92, 98-91, and 97-92. After the fight, Shields says that she is the greatest woman of all time. I'm not sure what it is about Shields. Beeb, I'm not sure if you feel the same way, but every time I see her, I like her less and less.
Yeah, she rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, during the post-fight interview, Christina Hammer entered the ring, which she called Christina Hammer into the ring. Claressa Shields says, where is she? Get her in the ring. Hammer's in the ring. The two traded words and a scuffle broke out. Real classy lady here. I don't know. I'm not really sold on Claressa Shields as far as an entertainer. She's a great boxer. I think she beats Hammer when they fight, but I don't know. Beeb, what are your thoughts on Shields?
We spoke before the show, and what I think about Shields is she's like a poor man's Timothy Bradley with being less refined. Because when she is kind of flowing and she's doing what she wants to do, she goes in and out a lot. She's sort of like an ambush fighter, but like Bradley, she's just not a big puncher. The problem with Claressa Shields, when you look at her compared to Christina Hammer, is Christina Hammer always has a plan. She knows what she wants to do. There's no wasted movement in her at all in anything she does. Whereas with Claressa Shields, she looks like she's exerting a lot of energy trying to do things and figure it out as she goes along with the fight. And obviously you have to make adjustments in the fight. We all know that. But she looks like she's really trying very hard to do something in there that is just not natural. She doesn't look like she's natural in there. Everything looks forced to me. Whereas with Christina Hammer, she just flows. She's relaxed. She's calm. She's poised. So, a lot of times, fighters don't always do what they want to do in there, whether it be their opponent offsetting them or whether them just not having the right game plan and not being able to adjust. But the thing is every move you make in the ring is supposed to have a purpose, whether it be a subtle move or it be, an excessive or an exaggerated movement. Now, with Christina Hammer, she'll make a subtle movement. She'll take a step to the right, step to the left. And it may not really mean a lot to the naked eye, but what she's doing is she's constantly putting herself in a position where her opponent may be out of position because she's forcing them to have to follow her. And as they follow her, she meets them with a jab. So she's getting her opponent to follow her. She's getting herself in a position where she's got the punching angle and her opponent doesn't. With Claressa Shields, we're seeing her just barrel in a lot of times. She's flailing. She's throwing wide shots, and she'll stay in the pocket and she'll lean face forward a lot of times. So she looks to me like she's fighting off of adrenaline, fighting off of emotion, trying too hard to be something she's not, which is that knockout puncher. To my knowledge, I don't even think she scored a knockdown in her fights. I think she has about 8 fights right now. So she doesn't have a ton of fights, whereas Christina Hammer's got like 22, 23-ish. So I like the fact of Christina Hammer being able to utilize her height and reach being able to have that ring generalship mastered. Whereas I don't think that Claressa Shields has that aspect of her game down yet. She's still trying to figure it out. She's still trying to invent herself as a fighter. She's so concerned about being exciting in there as opposed to just winning that she's not really looking great. The reason why I believe she's winning is because she does have some natural athletic gifts. She is quick. She is explosive. She is somewhat athletic, but mentally she just hasn't put it all together. Okay, and she's been bigger and stronger than everyone she's faced, and when she has been caught with shots, she's able to withstand it and walk through them. But we've seen yesterday where there was a chink in her arm and she got knocked down, but she wasn't hurt at all. She was off balance, but that was due to her squaring up on the inside and leaning in to the uppercut. Now, Christina Hammer is not a big puncher, as Claressa Shields is not. So that both fighters are not big punchers, but Christina Hammer is an accurate, very sharp puncher. So if Claressa Shields decides to get wild and lean in, she could walk into a right hand that's perfectly placed, and she could get hurt because of that. So Claressa Shields, she won, I believe 7 rounds on my scorecard yesterday. I had the fight 96-93, but again, she was in there with a young woman who was smaller than her, who moved very well, but just didn't have the physical strength or the power to keep Claressa Shields off her. She didn't have anything to keep Claressa Shields honest to exploit some of those mistakes I mentioned. But Christina Hammer does, even though she's not a big puncher. She can pile up points. She can control distance very well. She's really good at making that subtle movement, taking that half step backward, stepping up 2 steps to the right, 2 steps to the left. She's not predictable. And I'm going to make another statement that could sound blasphemous to some, because I've seen a lot of women fighters, whether it be Ann Wolfe, Layla Ali, Christy Martin, Lucia Riker, a lot of them. And I have to say, all my years observing and watching female boxers, I have to say Christina Hammer's probably got the best jab I've ever seen in a female fighter. And she uses that as a weapon. She can control the whole fight with that jab, sort of like Larry Holmes did, and Vladimir Klitschko did. So I don't see Claressa Shields really improving right now. I see her still, a little bit wild in there. She flails, she leans in. She can be a fluid combination puncher when she relaxes and sits, just takes her time. But she's not a big woman. She's a strong woman. She's a physically strong woman, a physically fast woman. But in terms of height and reach, she can be at a disadvantage. If she decides to move up and the competition does get better. But she fights Christina Hammer, I think that Christina Hammer is going to exploit those weaknesses. She's going to utilize her height and reach because she utilizes her height and reach perfectly. She knows how to gauge range outstanding. Whereas I don't think Claressa Shields has that another aspect of the game mastered at all. We see her where she puts her hands down and she moves out, but she doesn't move far enough out, and she's getting hit on the way out. Whereas Christina Hammer is not getting hit on the way out because she's jabbing in and she's jabbing out. So she's constantly making a movement, regardless of how significant it may seem to the naked eye, whether it be subtle. Every little subtlety to her game has a purpose. Whereas Claressa Shields, I see a lot of wasted movement, a lot of over-excessive aggressiveness, a lot of ineffective aggressiveness, whereas the fight looks like, to me, she's making it harder than it has to be. When you're so much better than your opponent, you have so many advantages over your opponent. Utilize those advantages instead of trying to create a highlight reel when you don't have to. Win the fights. And that's it. Like Andre Ward, he just won the fights. He didn't care what people said about his style, whether he was not a big puncher, whether or not his fights were boring. You got to win. And if you win enough times, you're going to make some noise. And that's the mentality that she needs to have moving forward, in my opinion. I think Christina Hammer beats her all day. And I'd love to see the fight. And we're probably going to see it next.
Yeah. Just a reminder on Blog Talk, if you guys are holding, just hang tight. You'll be able to hear I think you can hear Robert and myself, but you can't hear Beeb talking. So when the show is going on, there may be long pauses if you're listening on Blog Talk. Robert, what are your thoughts on Claressa Shields?
I'm with you, Eric, and I unfortunately I don't know what Beeb said, so I hope I'm not duplicating anything he said. But she's reminding me of the Floyd Mayweather, the female persuasion. She seems to be arrogant, and she wants things her way. And I was hoping that with her being knocked down, it might actually show her, hey, look, I've got some real competition here, but she seemed to be more arrogant than ever. She's becoming somebody that I can't really root for. And, I don't know if it'll happen or not, but when her and Hammer fight, I hope Hammer really puts it to her, because I was more impressed with what I saw out of Christina Hammer than what I was with Claressa Shields. She's really starting to become the female version of Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, I would go along with that. Let's talk about Christina Hammer here. She fought Tori Nelson for the WBC WBO middleweight title. Hammer dominated Nelson in a pretty one-sided fight, honestly. I mean, Hammer won a unanimous decision of 100-90, 99-91 twice. This now sets up the big fight with Claressa Shields. Hammer said after the fight that she wants the Shields fight to take place on a neutral site. I'll be honest, man, good luck with that, because neither one of them are really big draws. Outside of Detroit, nobody's coming to see. This was at the where did this take place? Be the Masonic Temple or something like that?
Yes, exactly.
How many? Does anybody know how many people were there?
I don't. I'll have to take a look at that. I don't know off the top
I
of my
think
head.
Wood was there last night. I saw him on the line earlier. I think he's
he was there. He was interviewing fighters too. Good for him.
Wood's always on the hustle.
Yeah, man.
Always on the hustle, right? Yeah, so he was there. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how many were there. Hopefully Wood can, maybe if he's in the chat or maybe if he calls in, he let us know how many people were there. But it's a Masonic temple. How many can it hold?
Yeah, it's not a huge arena at all.
Yeah, right. It's like a high school gym, it's not like anything that major. So what do they want it to take place at a neutral site, man. I don't know that you're going to get that many people. I don't know how many people Hammer gets when she fights wherever she fights, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Beeb, you have any thoughts on this?
Well, she was asked, since you fight in Europe, are you used to fighting, in larger stadiums and larger arenas with larger crowds? And she said yes. So I don't know. In order to maximize the revenue of this fight, I don't know if they can go to a place like the Masonic Temple and really, because with all due respect, can that demographic pay big money for a fight? And if there's not enough seats, how are you going to pay these fighters what they're worth for this type of matchup?
Yeah.
So to me, it may, you may want to consider, if you're Claressa Shields, fighting in Europe somewhere. Maybe try to fight in the UK, or try to fight in where's Hammer from? Is she German?
I think so.
Yeah, so maybe try to fight in the UK somewhere in London or something like that. Maybe they could drum up some interest there. I don't know, but in order to maximize revenue, you may have to put this fight probably in. I hate to say it, you may have to put this fight in Germany. You may have to do that because she's a name in Germany, and Germany has big stadiums there, and that's how you can generate revenue, and you can still put the fight on Showtime. So I don't know. I think that would probably be the more smartest business move in terms of revenue and profitability. Because you're right. Where can you put this fight in the United States in a neutral arena where it's going to draw.
Yeah, you put that fight in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, you I don't think if you tried to put this fight at Barclays it would sell out.
No.
Now, if you wanted to, you could put it as a co-feature on someone else's card and still pay the ladies a good purse. If you wanted to put it in the United States and you wanted to keep it neutral. But again, is it really neutral if Christina Hammer has to come over and fight in the United States? She's still going to have to make some sacrifices. But credit to Christina Hammer. I mean, I believe yesterday was her first time fighting on American soil, and she was poised and she looked great. She looked relaxed. She looked much more composed than Claressa Shields did, and Claressa Shields was in the comfort and confines of her own, hometown or home state or whatever, however you want to call it. So she was, more at home than Christina Hammer was, and Christina Hammer looked the more relaxed of the two. And I agree with Robbie. And as I've said, I think that Christina Hammer was much more impressive to me than Claressa Shields was.
Yeah,
I have to say so.
Wood just said the upper balcony at the Masonic Temple had some holes in it, crowd-wise. There were some attendance concerns, but he said he wonders if the location was a turnoff. Yeah, well, I mean, probably. I mean, you're fighting at the Masonic Temple. I mean, again, man, where else are you going to go? And Beeb, you had a great idea. You have to put this on an undercard. It's not going to stand anywhere at a neutral site.
No, you'd have to put
come
it
and watch this fight. I mean, listen, if you couldn't sell out the Masonic Temple and you're Claressa Shields, it's your hometown, and you got 2 world champions on the card, son, you ain't selling it out.
No, it's a tough sell.
Yeah, it's a real tough sell.
It's a tough.
Real tough sell. Real tough sell. Robert, what were your thoughts on Christina Hammer?
Well, out of the two female fights, I was more impressed with Christina Hammer than I was with Shields, as I said earlier. At least Hammer fights, she puts her punches together and seems to know what she's doing in there. But I still abdicate that if we're gonna watch women fight, they need to fight under the same rules as the men. 3-minute rounds, and if you're going to have a championship fight, you got to make it 12 rounds. I mean, we really need to see, women talk about, equal pay and equal worth. Well, okay, if you want equal pay and equal worth, then boxing you got to fight under the same rules. 12-round fight, 3-minute rounds each round, just like the guys do. And I will not change my stance on that.
You're such a
and in fairness to what Robbie's points is,
you don't agree with that, huh, Eric?
You're sexist.
In fairness to what Robbie's saying, at least in the UFC, the female fighters, they fight the same amount of rounds and the same amount of minutes as the men do.
That's it.
So I think if these, go ahead.
No, I said that's what they do in the UFC. You're 100%.
Yeah. So if you want to take it to the next level, then you got to, follow the same rules. In my opinion,
nobody wants to see a modified rules. Nobody wants to see modified rules.
And I gotta tell you, it was that those fights went by too fast for me. And the thing is this too, is I think it's beneficial to the women because you may say they'll get tired faster or whatever, but at least they have more time to figure out their opponent.
Yeah.
There's a larger margin for error with the more time. You have more time to make adjustments. You have more time to maybe steal around if you're losing it in the beginning. Because in a 2-minute round, I mean, I just don't see that as real boxing to me. It seems like a JV type thing. It's almost like when you look at Little League versus college baseball. You know what I mean? It's just modified version. And by having a modified version, what does that tell the public? That you're not on the same level as the men. You're basically relegating the female boxing aspect of the sport to a lower level than the men. And if you want to garner attention in the sport, you can't present yourself as the JV team or the JV league, I should say, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I agree. And Notorious VC in the chat says the same thing. He said, you can't have any combat sport that just does 2-minute rounds. It doesn't work. And it gets people less interested in it because they figure they're watching a more inferior product. That's what they do. If, okay, you guys don't go as long as these guys, well, you must not be as good. I must be watching like junior league ball here. That's the thought process, whether it's true or not. That's the thought.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah,
it's disappointing.
For sure. All right, let's talk about, let's see here. ESPN Plus, across the pond. Roberto Garcia versus Martin Murray, 12 rounds, middleweights. Martin Murray beats Roberto Garcia by unanimous decision, 116, 111, 118, 109 twice. My man, Martin Murray, my favorite boxer, is now the mandatory challenger for the WBA, WBC middleweight champion Triple G. What do you think about that, Robbie? What do you think about that?
Hey,
he's calling out your boy again.
I'm sure they'll fight again. Why not?
Calling out your boy again. He almost beat him the first fight. Second time is going to be a lot different.
Yep. No. Why not?
This is the problem with the sanctioning bodies, though. I mean, Martin Murray, honestly, if I'm being honest, I like him and everything, but he should not be getting another shot at the title, especially off of Roberto Garcia. I don't know. On the undercard, I believe it was on the undercard of that. Daniel Dubois versus Tom Little, 10 rounds heavyweights. Dubois wins a 5th round stoppage. This guy, him and Anthony Yard are really making some waves over here. Anthony Yard also versus Darius Sek, 10 rounds light heavyweights. Yard wins via TKO in the 7th. Sek is a southpaw, the first southpaw that Yard has faced. Beeb, what do you think about these two, Yard and Dubois?
I've seen Yard fight a few times. I haven't really watched a ton of Dubois, unfortunately. Yard seems a little bit raw, but he can punch. Yard can punch, and he's very explosive, but he seems a little raw. Does seem a little raw, and the level of opposition isn't great, so it's hard to gauge him. It's really hard to gauge him.
By the way, Wood, just to backtrack a little bit here, Wood said there was about 500 plus people at the Masonic Temple.
That's it?
Not exactly a barn burner over there for 2 titles.
Yeah, but Yard, he definitely has a very entertaining style.
Yeah.
But he's just blowing through people. He's just walking through them, and he's just mauling. He's just like ragdolling people, basically. So it's really hard. It's really hard to gauge this guy. He reminds me a little bit of David Haye because he's kind of like herky jerky. He just throws power shots out of nowhere and just jumps in, kind of a cross between David Haye and Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, can he fight like that against better level of opposition? I don't know.
Right.
What's going to happen if he's not knocking guys out?
Yeah. Can you box for 10 rounds?
Yeah, I don't like those guys like a Chris Eubank Jr. Even Roy Jones. I always said to myself, is this going to work? Really? Time and time again. I like the guys that have the fundamentals down, that can box. I can appreciate all styles. I can appreciate Jared Hurd because he's essentially getting everything he has out of his body. Like, he's never going to be a slickster. He's never going to be a Sugar Ray Leonard. So he's getting the best out of his ability. But when you have a guy like Roy Jones, you have a guy like Anthony Yard, you have a guy like David Haye, they're just very fast, very strong, very explosive. You could refine them a little bit to add a wrinkle. Like Hurd, he's probably not going to be the quickest guy, the guy with the best reflexes in the world. These guys have the reflexes. So what happens is you see how much of an advantage you have with your just gifted abilities, and you tend to probably not focus on the fundamentals as much, or being more of a technical guy, or coming up with plan B's and C's, because plan A is just knocking it out of the park for you. So I always am skeptical of jumping on the Prince Nassim Hamed type style bandwagon, because what happens when that Marco Antonio Barrera comes along?
Right.
What's going to happen? That's why I'm going to reserve judgment on Anthony Yard right now. But I will say this: he is fun to watch, and he's an enjoyable fighter. He's got a great style in terms of being fan friendly.
What about Daniel Dubois? Are you a big fan?
I don't know enough about him. I've just seen bits and pieces of him, so I don't want to really say too much about him. I heard great things about him, but I still don't know enough about him. I haven't watched enough of him, unfortunately.
Sure. O'Hara Davies versus Paula Kamanga, 12 rounds, junior welterweights. O'Hara Davies knocked him out in the second round with one of the most vicious overhand rights you'll ever see. I mean, it was vicious, man. That guy, he pulled that punch back, hit him, and that guy, he was out. He was gone. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go YouTube it. It's one heck of a knockout, man. He put him out cold. Josh Taylor versus Victor Postol. Josh Taylor defeats Victor Postol by the scores of 118-110, 117-110, 119-108. This was said to be a lot closer fight than the scores indicated. Everybody agrees the right guy won, but the scores, not so much, man. Josh Taylor is now the mandatory WBC super lightweight contender. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Josh Taylor, Beeb?
Josh Taylor is a worker, too. He's another one of those guys that it's not always going to be pretty, but he's a grinder. He's a guy that really knows how to fight very well inside. He may catch a shot here and there, but he's really good, like Andre Ward was, at positioning himself and really getting in low and getting up underneath his opponent's shots, and he can dig those body shots very well. He's just a guy that can wear you down. He grinds you into dust up close, and it's going to be a physically tasking fight for anyone that has to fight this guy, because he's a bulldog in there. But again, he's really good at placing the shots well, really good at body positioning, really good at getting low and being a compact target up close. So he can defend inside as well as fight inside, and that's going to be a problem for anyone. So Victor Postol, again, he's a guy that likes to use range, and I think Josh Taylor's style was a difficult style for him to handle. I did not see the fight. I heard Josh Taylor clearly won, but it was closer. So I think Josh Taylor, is in the right division at the right time now that Terrence Crawford is gone. He can make some noise, and it'd be an interesting matchup between him and Regis Prograis if they ever fight, because Regis Prograis is another guy that is can get up close and really rip apart his opponent's rib cage, but he can also move in and out very well too. He's very quick on his feet. So Josh Taylor's physical pressure and constant pressure, just with that slow Prograis down, this could be a chess match, or it could be like a cat and mouse game. But it'll have bits and pieces of a lot of action sprinkled in there, because these guys like to engage inside the deep end of the pocket. So I think that fight is something that would be very intriguing to watch, and I think it would be a great type fight of the year type fight for the fans to get if that was ever happen. But I like Josh. I like him a lot. I think he's a really, really tough, hard worker in there, and he's in phenomenal shape. And I think that he knows how to utilize his style and implement the style perfectly in a fight.
There you go. Also on ESPN Plus, Miguel Berchelt versus Jonathan Barros, the WBC super featherweight title. Berchelt wins via third round TKO in this fight. After the fight, he called out Mickey Roman. This was a Golden Boy card on ESPN Plus. Beeb, what are your thoughts on Miguel Berchelt, and do you like the fight with Mickey Roman?
Berchelt is a guy that is very crafty, but again, he can punch too. He's a guy that is just very well rounded. He's sort of like a Juan Manuel Marquez type of fighter. I think that he could rule this division. I think because he's got it all. He can counter punch, but he can be aggressive when he has to be. So I think you'd have to favor him over everybody, really. I think he's solid. I think he's very solid. I like him.
All right. There you go. All right, let's move on to the upcoming fights here. Not much in the way of big fights going on, but we'll tell you which ones they are here on June 29th, which is a Friday from Cancun, Mexico on ESPN. Rashidi Ellis versus Alberto Mosquera, 10 rounds, welterweights. And let's see what else here. Now, John Pascal versus Stephen Bosse, 10 rounds cruiserweights, is at Laval, Quebec, but there is no TV on that. So if you're in Canada, I'm sure they're showing it on there, but it does not seem to be televised as of right now. Now, Saturday, June 30th, from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on ESPN, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez versus Romer Alexis Angulo for 12 rounds for Ramirez's WBO super middleweight title. Alex Saucedo versus Lenny Zapavinga, 10 rounds, junior welterweights. Mike Alvarado, also on that undercard, versus Martin Angel Martinez. Trey Lippe Morrison is on there versus the dreaded TBA. We haven't seen him in a while. From Belfast, Northern Ireland on ESPN Plus that same day, Michael Conlon versus Adelson Dos Santos, 8 rounds featherweights. And that'll be on ESPN Plus. This is another one that I didn't see televised, but from Uncasville, Connecticut, Joe Smith Jr. versus Melvin Russell, 10 rounds, light heavyweights. See what else we got, and that is it. That's it. That's it. The summer is barren, Robbie. It's barren.
Wow. And is the guy that Gilberto Ramirez fighting, is that a mandatory?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Because when I heard about this fight last night, I'm like, who the heck is this person? If this is not a mandatory, I want to ask Top Rank and Bob Arum a question. What the hell are you doing with Gilberto Ramirez? Because he should be fighting stiffer competition. I don't know anything about the person who got this title shot. He deserves to be in bigger fights.
What are they doing with Gilberto Ramirez? Quick answer, not much.
Yeah, they're moving. He's on the slow track. Let me ask you one more question about Michael Burchell. Do you think him and Tank Davis would be a good fight? Would you favor him over Tank Davis? I would favor him over Tank Davis.
Tank Davis is one of those guys that has power. Can he box, though? If he can't knock a guy out, can he box? I don't know.
The dangerous thing about Burchell is he's just such a cagey counterpuncher.
Yeah.
He's a good counterpuncher, too. He reminds me a lot. I hate to say this because it sounds blasphemous. He reminds me a lot of Marquez. He really does.
Yeah. He's a good fighter, man.
He's a solid fighter.
All right, before we get to the news and rumors, let's go ahead and go to the phones. Area code 805. 805. You're live.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me.
Hello, Nacho.
Hey, hello. As far as the fights this weekend, probably the best one that was on all weekend was the Taylor Postal fight, because that was probably the closest fight of all of the fights this weekend. They went back and forth pretty good throughout the fight. I thought Postal gave him a lot of problems with the way he fought him, and Taylor moved around a lot and kind of was trying to avoid exchanging as much as he could, unless he felt like he had the advantage. And he started to win the exchanges towards the end of the fight when he dropped him in the 10th round, and then he kind of got the better of him towards the end of the fight. So that was good. That it was a good test for him, and he won. But those scorecards are just ridiculous. There's no way that he won 9 and 10 rounds in that fight. That fight was a lot closer than that, and they did a Postal no favors with those ridiculous scores. But it'll be interesting to see if Josh Taylor ends up fighting Jose Ramirez now that he's the mandatory for that BC 140-pound belt. As far as the other fights, Yard and Dubois, they did what I expected them to do. Hopefully Frank Warren can find some live bodies at some point, because, man, some of these guys that he's putting these dudes in there with is like they're just running through these guys like a hot knife through butter. At some point, you got to get somebody in there that can actually fight these guys on even terms, because at this point, they're just taking these guys apart really easily. They need some better competition before we can legitimately say that they're the real deal. But I like the way they both fight, and hopefully at some point or another, Warren can find some better fighters to, you know, make these guys, to see if they can pass the test as far as being able to fight against some better competition. The Murray-Garcia fight, that fight was awful. I'm sorry, Martin Murray looked like a extra on The Walking Dead the day before at the weigh-in. He looked like he killed himself to make 160, and he fought like he was in quicksand for most of that fight. And then he had the nerve to complain about Garcia headbutting him and low blowing him when he was blatantly low blowing Garcia on several occasions in front of the ref, and the ref didn't do anything. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, that's some ridiculous shit. Like, that ref was awful. I hope, you know, they look at that performance of his and they never let him never let him referee a fight with any kind of belt or anything, because that was just god awful. He didn't do anything to stop the low blowing on both sides, except for taking points away from Garcia when he should have taken points away from Murray as well. But, you know, I think Murray gets his ass kicked again by Golovkin or somebody else, because he just doesn't look like he's got much left in the tank. The Barrios fight, Burchell looked great. He dominated Barrios. The thing that had me shocked was how in the middle of the third round, when Burchell was teeing off on him, that Barrios' corner man just jumped into the ring in the middle of the action and literally pushed the ref aside and hugged his fighter and said he wanted the fight stopped. And Barrios was like, "What are you doing? Like, I'm still, you know, I'm fine. Like, I can fight back." And he's like, no, you're done. And that was one of the strangest ones I've ever seen. I've never seen a guy come in from the corner and grab his fighter and pull him away in the middle of the action. That was so bizarre. But, I mean, Burchell looked good. Hopefully he fights Mickey Roman next, and we get a good fight out of those two. And Tony Yoka, he fought Dave Allen, and I saw that fight, and Yoka, you know, he did what he had to do. He beat Dave Allen, but Allen, man, he took a beating in that fight. He really got beat up in that fight. And at the very end, you know, they stopped the fight, which I was kind of surprised, because I really thought with the beating he had taken, he was actually going to make it through to the end of the 10th round, but they stopped it. And, you know, Yoka looks good, but hopefully they'll get him some better competition as well. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, man.
Yeah, well, then not much to talk about this weekend, man. What can I say?
Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, Robbie, you said you were asking if Ramirez's fight was mandatory. It's actually not. It's an optional defense.
Oh
my God! Then what the hell is Bob Arum doing? He deserves.
Well, apparently, see, now I'm not trying to stick up for Bob Arum, but I had read on Boxing Scene that they offered the fight to Rocky Fielding, who's a hell of a lot better fighter than the guy they have fighting Ramirez this weekend. But apparently Fielding and Hearn complained about the money that was being offered, and so they decided to go a different route. And now Rocky Fielding's fighting Tyrone Zug in Germany for his bullshit WBA belt that he has in a couple of weeks. So it was obvious they were never interested in taking that fight. So they did try to go after a better fighter. They just chose not to take the fight.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
I agree with you. I don't know anything about this Angulo guy. He's just got a really gaudy record with a bunch of knockouts, but we don't really know if he can actually fight. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what he brings to the table. But yeah, this is one of the few times where Arum actually tried to offer the fight to a legit contender, and they said no, or never accepted the fight at all. So
because Ramirez deserves to be fighting better competition, you know, like a David Benavidez or you know, somebody of that caliber, you know, James Fidel even, you know, somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, I would prefer to see him in there against guys who actually, who have legitimate records. I wouldn't mind seeing him against Uskategi. I think that would be
good too. Yeah, that'd be good too.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Like I said, they tried to get Fielding, and he shot him down and said no. And pretty much, when you look at the rest of the like top 30, top 40, there's a lot of guys, but there's really nobody that sticks out where you're like, oh, okay, that he could legitimately have fought for this fight. Maybe, according to what I'm seeing, Sakio Bika, Peter Quillen, Robin Krasnicki, Andre Durrell, Caleb Truex, a lot of slim pickings out there.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's almost time for Gabriels to move up, or can he move up to light heavyweight?
No, you got they had a whole tournament down there. He's got to fight one of those. Why didn't he get involved in that tournament? I mean, they want somebody to fight. He wants to be a big star, but he doesn't want to go in a tournament.
I can't remember ever seeing any Bob Arum fighter in any tournament. I just think that's a Bob Arum thing, I think.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with the fact that apparently Top Rank is not willing to, they spend all their time and money investing in these guys. And apparently to them, what they're getting out of it isn't worth the return. So they just feel like their guys aren't going to get what they think they deserve out of those tournaments. I agree with you guys. I think they should have put these guys in these tournaments to get them some bigger exposure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to hold guys out because
he had a good chance to win the whole thing too.
Help you out in the end. So, because I mean, Jose Ramirez should have been in this tournament that's coming up. In my opinion, I think he should have put his name in there and fought because the guys who are in there are top 140-pound fighters, and he could have legitimately made his claim to be one of the best, if not the best, 140-pounder after that tournament. Instead, now he's fighting Danny O'Connor in Fresno, and I'm like, really? This is what he set out the tournament for, was to fight a guy like Danny O'Connor?
That's not a big fight at all.
So, all right, Nacho.
I don't get that. I don't get what some of these people are doing, but thanks for calling, Nacho.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I always like Nacho's call because he always lets us know what's going on. It always comes with a different perspective. All right.
Yeah.
Also too, before anything, if you guys are enjoying what we're doing, if you like our podcast, if you're at least entertained for a few minutes anyway, hit the thumbs up button for us and help us out there. All right. Area code 760. You're live.
Hey, what's happening, homie?
Hey, Brian, what's up? You got a lot of background noise. But,
Hey, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
That's much better, yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's happening,
man? I can't hear Beeb, man. It sucks I can't hear Beeb.
I know.
No, I know. You can blame Blog Talk for that. I mean, the best part of our show you can't hear,
Hey, you can hear me. What are you talking about? You can hear me. I'm the best part of the show. What about that?
I can hear you. I can hear you guys.
Eric's the quarterback, Robbie, not me.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob.
He throws me the ball. That's how I run with it.
What do you think about it? Did you watch it or what?
Of course I watched it, but my God, it's hard to root for Claressa Shields. She comes across as a Floyd Mayweather wannabe.
Yeah.
Robbie said he would have rather watched him clean his house.
Jeez.
Hey, it was all right. She got caught with that uppercut. Hey, you know what she got to work on? She's too repetitive in her attacks. She need to work on and good angles and stuff like that because she's just straightforward and it's kind of predictable in what she's doing. That's why she got counted like that. She's gonna have to start switching it up. But then it ain't too much competition.
Yeah, I hope John David Jackson can do something with her that he couldn't do with Kovalev.
Yeah, that's him. I don't know about him, but what you think about her Hammer, Christina Hammer. You think that'll be a good fight? Because she's a pretty good boxer, Christina Hammer.
And Hammer is tall and long, and I think she's going to give Shields trouble.
I think she wins.
Eric
I think she beats her.
Thought Shields would win, but I wonder if Hammer's size would have any difficulty for Shields.
I think she wins. I'm picking her.
You think? I think it'll be a good fight, maybe 10 rounds. But you're right, Robbie. They need to step it up on them rounds, make it 3-minute rounds, because them rounds are going by quick, huh?
Yeah. If you're gonna fight in professional boxing and you want to be paid like a professional boxer, you need to fight 12 rounds and you need to fight 3-minute rounds.
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe if they was to throw them two on, maybe another pretty good fight, maybe on the undercard or something, maybe it'll get some attention. Rather than to have it like a standalone fight. Ain't nobody gonna watch that.
Yeah, they get about 60 people in the parking lot to show up to watch it.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy. Hey, what you think about Anthony Yard and Daniel Dubois?
I'm telling you what, man, I like both of those guys. Man.
Yeah, I like them too.
And Beeb hit on a really good point. He said that Anthony Yard is real raw. He's real raw, but I mean, man, I tell you what, I still they're entertaining. Both of those guys are really entertaining, and they're bringing them along. I don't think they need to step it up just yet, man. They're bringing them along just fine. They're that's what this is what they do.
I feel. Don't rush them. Just what's their record? What is their record?
Right, they've only got a few fights between them, so just bring them along. It just let's enjoy them for now. Right, we don't need to see him fight. I don't need to see him fight Dylan White right now. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Let them build it up, and then go here. At least let them get some, get some fights under their belt. Let them build it up first, and then start attacking. I think Anthony Yard eventually will give some of them because he's light heavyweight, right?
Yes.
Anthony Yard,
he's light heavyweight.
He's light heavyweight. Yes.
Dubois is heavyweight.
Work him. Yeah, start moving him along, slowly but surely, and match him up against. I think eventually, work his way to beating Kovalov, Stevenson. He's good, man. I think he's good.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he's pretty good. And Daniel Dubois, I heard they was talking about setting it up for. So they was talking about it. Maybe that would be a good matchup between him and Tyson Fury. What do you think?
I think it's a little early to tell, but yeah, I think that's a good.
Guy's only got 8 fights, man. It's tough.
It's a little early to tell.
He's a specimen, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure.
This Wilder and this Anthony Joshua thing is getting closer. So, Eric, it's almost time for us to make a bet, make it official. That way you'll lose for the first time. You're about to lose, man.
I'm telling you, Joshua's got more ways to win. If they fight, Wilder's got one way to win. Listen, even Mike Tyson couldn't knock everybody out. And he had power in both hands.
So Wilder has won. But Wilder won that way every time, except for when he fought Severn and let him. Wilder, when he fought Severn and they went to 12 rounds, that's because everybody was saying he can't go 12 rounds. So he went 12 rounds. But that guy's beating everybody, man. That's better than him. All these guys that he faced, even when he was in the amateurs, they had all this experience, and he still beat these guys with that one way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
he's a good fighter, no question.
We'll have to. I'll put my money on Wilder. That's for sure. So, whenever that fight do get signed with that, man, you're gonna lose for the first time to me and Wilder.
Not a chance. Oh, yeah. Undefeated, undisputed.
That's what Wilder is gonna be after he knocks out Joshua. Hey, but what's going on? Because you guys know what's going on because he accepted, they sent him to contract? What's going to be happening from there? Are you guys getting ready to talk about it?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it here in a few. We're going to talk about it here in a few.
Okay. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thank you for calling, man.
Good call, Brian.
Okay.
Brian's a cool dude, man. I like Brian.
He really is. He really is.
He's a real cool dude. Man.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, it doesn't even play.
You'll be my.
There we go.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
There we go. Bring
Welcome,
on Georgie.
What's up?
Hey, what's happening, people?
Georgie.
Georgie, Porgy, pudding pie.
Beeb is documenting. The man even got to show his mic off and everything. That's sad.
No,
he heard you were going to be on the show today, and
brother.
he heard you were going to be on the show today, and you know, he says, you know what, I'm just going to mute it. You know.
Tell Georgie if he puts the YouTube on, he can hear me.
Listen, guys, the fight. I gotta go against Robbie a little bit. I gotta go. Come on, Robbie, man. Claressa is a specimen. That woman, speed, rival, top guys. I'm talking about top elite guys out there.
Oh no,
down,
dude.
Really impressive. Speed.
Come
on,
reel him in, Eric. Reel him in, please.
Oh, man.
Reel him in.
Let's get a little bit of perspective here.
He's getting out of control now.
She's a good fighter. I'm not going to say otherwise. She's a very good fighter.
All right. Would you say that the Claressa is faster than Horn, the guy who just fought Crawford?
No.
You say she's now faster than him?
I would not.
No. You're not even be faster than the Beeb.
I don't even know that she's faster than the Beeb. I've seen the Beeb
right
work
here.
out the gym.
Oof.
It's like lightning. You can't even.
Right here. You may have to slow that down, babe.
Beeb's got a right hand that comes out of nowhere.
My right hand gets speeding tickets. It's been stopped on Route 95 10 times, baby. Yeah.
Georgie, you can blame Blog Talk for this mess. It's not Beeb's fault.
All right, baby, excuses and excuses. We hear everything already. The shit played out. Anyways, yo, listen, the fight was pretty good. I've seen worse.
That's
now,
true.
They be doing these fights on Showtime, trying to set up Lady Hammer against Claressa.
Yep, that's next.
That's a beautiful match.
Who do you think wins that, Georgie?
That's the best the woman boxing can offer.
Who do you think wins?
I don't know, brother. The question is, can Claressa, with her speed, can pass that jab? Because there's the saying that timing beats speed, but that's not true. Timing.
Well,
that's not true.
I know Claressa.
He's changing the law of physics.
6 foot tall. She looks extremely tall in there.
She's 5'11", baby.
Hands down. But like I was saying, there is the notion that timing beats speed, but not really. You know, it's possible with timing beats speed, but speed most of the time kills. At least 70% of the time. Not everybody got that perfect timing. So I'm looking forward for it. It's a shame that they did it in a Masonic temple. That's where they fought at.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the stage of women boxing.
Yep, and 500 people, and 500 people were there, according to Wood.
They're gonna be at the Poughkeepsie High School gym next time for this unification.
No, I'm disappointed that only 500 people out there. That's
just sad, brother.
Shout out to Showtime, man.
And people really, I watch it. I try to support the sport, but I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. They need to go the full round.
They do.
Yeah,
they have
do.
to. They have to.
Don't make it to the full. They have to, because it's like you say, the perception that we're watching something inferior.
Right.
And not only that, shorter rounds don't get you as tired. So if you go 12 rounds in short round, it's not the same. So you're taking this aura that the championship rounds have.
Yeah. If you're going to defend a title, instead of fighting 24 minutes, you need to fight 36.
Yeah, I think back in the day, in order for it to be accepted, they had to make concessions.
Playing all the channels about it, and they say that this is safety reason. But I mean, you want equality, because I'm all for equality, regardless you woman, you black, whatever. You know, every human race is just.
You hear that, Robbie? He's about equality. Hear that?
Hey.
You hear that? He's about equality, son.
They deserve it.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, they deserve equality, but they need to fight under the same rules.
Yeah, because I mean, you got women that are police officers taking the same risk in the street that a man. In the military, in firemen, I mean, in every aspect of life. But here we got to make an exception. Why? I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? That's a flaw that eventually they're gonna have to, get it going.
That's right.
Now let's talk about this Deontay Wilder, AJ saga, the never-ending story. Thing is sad, brother. Sad. You don't know who to believe anymore. It's to that point that he just talk and this and allege this, allege that. Everybody got an opinion. Nobody got no facts. Because unless you got a copy of this contract, so you know what I'm saying? So we go for what we think is right. Nobody really got the whole thing. Some people say AJ is darking. Some people say Wilder is darking. At the end of the day, none of that really matters. None of it. It's just, I mean, it's a detriment at this point. It's becoming a detriment to the sport. Because if you see, like the UK card, I'm always back in the UK. But that was some shit-ass fights. Like the previous caller said, I think it was Nacho, the other one before, that they got to put some live bodies out there. People who got a chance. You see, when you say you are a boxing fan, I only got from my friends, I only know 2 people who like boxing. Could you believe that? You say you're a boxing fan, people look at you like you're stupid. Like, what the hell you watching that shit? What you watching? The mafia bullshit? So, that's the reality. It's too much bullshit when there's no fucking scorecards that make no sense. These robberies, mismatches, the lore, this fucking extravaganza shit. I mean, I just want this shit to get done already. Getting to that point that it's just like more negative shit out there. You can't even express your opinion. You try to go, let's say you are the anti-Wilder fan. You say something, boom. You go to fucking, you try to, interact with all the boxing fans, and boom, they fucking shut you down. You get blocked. You are an AJ fan, you get blocked. So people going real tribal on this. Instead of fucking demanding the fight, regardless who you're supporting, it's about attacking the other side. And you're stupid and you ain't shit, and you know what I'm saying? It's get really ugly.
It's a great
people
point.
Taking shit personal for people that they don't give 2 fucks about you. It's ridiculous. Humanity, I don't know, baby. Just don't get it, B.
It's a great point, Georgie. Great point.
Yep.
Just to that point, Robbie, you still subscribe to the brown sugar body? What's going on?
No. No.
Come on now, you gotta come clean.
Robert, who would you rather? Hey, Robert, who would you rather date?
Yeah.
Would you rather date Claressa Shields or Christina Hammer?
Give me Hammer time any day.
He said Hammer time.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're such a sexist. You're such a sexist, dude. I look at them as athletes. I don't even look at them like pieces of meat like you do. You're a sexist. Unbelievable.
No.
Unbelievable.
You want me to take them seriously? Then they got to fight under the same rules.
Wow.
Man.
Robert just went deep again. That's cold-blooded. George, you see what we got to deal with here?
Hey, we gotta accept people with their flaws, brother. Try to
find
a common ground. Try to find a common ground. even if we don't agree with other people's opinion, brother.
Hey, Georgie, it looks like somebody. Hey, Georgie, it looks like somebody else wants to challenge Eric for his title. What do you think about that?
Baby, I've been putting work here. You see, Eric comes here and talks about how he humiliated me. He only got one win against me. And one
it was a
draw.
very humiliating win, though,
win
Georgie. We got to admit that.
To grab the belt and tie the whole thing.
I believe I have more than one win against Georgie, though. I believe I have more than one.
Yeah, I think you do.
I think I'm fairly certain I do too. The thing is that
we only got 2 fight bets. The only fight bet that I lost was against Beeb. Because Beeb is the bad man.
But mine, the one you lost to me, was extra humiliating. Oh, what happened there? I don't know. Robert, are you still with us? Did everybody leave us? Oh my God. Oh my God. Beeb, can you still hear me?
Of course I can hear you, yep.
All right, look at that.
All that matters.
That's all
I'll
that
I'll always listen to you.
Thank you, buddy.
One others won't.
I knew I can count on you.
Did the switchboard shut down?
Look like it, yeah. Let me I'm gonna try to get it back here. But while we're waiting, what did you think of Georgie's call?
Well, he's right. I mean, I don't agree with him with Claressa Shields. I think that Hammer would beat her. But again, that's going to be open to debate. It's probably a 50-50 fight in a lot of people's minds, but maybe more people will go with Shields because they've seen more of her. But, you know, I agree with Georgie. This whole Deontay Wilder thing is getting more and more to, just like the Mayweather-Pacquiao thing.
Yeah.
And it seems, I mean, they got the contract now, and there's 2 points. Eddie Hearn said he answered the questions, but were the answers suitable to Team Wilder? That's the big question that we have in regards to this fight. Should this fight happen next? Hopefully it will, but I don't know how much longer you can drag it out because you still got to promote it. We're going to be going into July very shortly. So July, August, September, and if your fight's going to be in October, hopefully I would suggest that being in November so you can get a solid 4 months of promotion. But they're cutting it close here. They're really cutting it close. And it's frustrating as a boxing fan. But, you know, we do have Canelo Golovkin 2 coming up. I still am more interested in this fight as opposed to Canelo Golovkin 2. But Canelo Golovkin 2 will be a suitable consolation prize, I guess, we may have to settle for.
Well, we're actually talking about this fight. I mean, remember how long we talked about Sugar Ray Hagler?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, are we really are we kind of spoiled with this? Does it really need to happen?
Well, I have no patience, so I have to admit that's a character flaw on my part.
Absolutely.
When I don't like standing in line. When I go to the registry, I'm friggin' tapping my foot. I'm kicking things. I mean, I just don't like waiting. When I'm in the supermarket, I'm cutting people in the line. That old lady she's not safe for me. I'm going in front of her. I don't like waiting.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
All right. It is not, guys, it's not letting me come back in here. So let me try a few more things. I don't know.
Oh, it's not letting you go back into the Blog Talk?
No, not letting me back in there.
Wow.
I know.
Guys, we're having a lot of technical difficulties through no fault of our own. We offer our sincerest apologies. You know, it is what it is. These things just happen. When you're at the mercy of technology, they call the shots.
That's right. That's right.
I'm so sorry.
We got to get
but at least you guys can listen to us on YouTube because we know YouTube never fails.
Right. YouTube is always good. Always good. Not like this. All right. Let's talk about the latest on Triple G and Canelo. They will not be face-to-face until fight week. Now, we talked about this a little bit last week, but it has kind of been confirmed this week. B, what are your thoughts? This is a big mistake. No, I mean, I know there's a lot of bad blood with these guys.
Well, you made a good point last week that I did not think of, and it was actually confirmed that there will be a 24/7, and I'm sure HBO will, do what they can do in terms of promoting this fight. Does it need a press tour? Again, all these extras could not have hurt, but only have helped.
Right.
So you know, it would have been nice to get have the face off. It would have been really nice to get the face off because you want to, you know, Canelo has been accused by Triple G, and you know, why would you not want to face your accuser? Why would you not want to confront your accuser? When you go back and look at that face-off that Antonio Margarito and Miguel Cotto had in their second fight, and you looked at Cotto, look right into Antonio Margarito's eyes and say to him, "I believe you cheated." And you look at the look on Margarito's face, like he wanted to rush across that table and choke him. That was priceless. That was priceless. So I would have liked to have seen a similar situation with Golovkin and Canelo. I think it would have only been fitting for this type of fight. So, yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure this will hurt the promotion. I still think this will do very well. I think it'll do a lot of pay-per-view buys. I think it'll do more pay-per-view buys than the first fight. But in terms of me being a fan, I would have liked to have seen. I would have really liked to have seen the other stuff. I would have liked to see the press conferences, the back and forth, and I would have liked to have seen the face-off. So as a fan, yeah, I would have liked to have seen it.
All right, let's see if this works here.
See if we can bring Robbie back in.
Yeah, let me see if I can bring Robert back in. Robert, can you hear me? Robert, can you hear me?
Yeah, he can't hear you.
No, he's not able to hear me. Okay. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Nobody can say we didn't try, Beeb.
It is what it is. I mean, it's out of our control.
We tried. We tried.
Another free month.
There you go. Love it. All right. So we're off of Blog Talk right now. I mean, I think you could probably call in and hear the show, but you're not going to be able to interact or anything like that. So me and Beeb just calling the show here.
That's it.
I'll text Robert back. So you don't think it affects it that much?
I don't think it will, because as long as you have the 24/7, where the cameras are going to go into both camps, as long as you have HBO, which I'm sure they'll probably do some build-up shows too. I don't think it'll be a huge blow. It may hurt it slightly. You know, if you were to just wipe everything out and nothing was being done, then that would be a problem. But I don't think HBO would have ever allowed that. As long as they have their avenue and their vehicle in terms of promotion, they're going to use it.
Right.
So,
right. All right, let's talk about the latest on Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder here. And we touched on it a little bit. Does the fight need to be made right now? That I don't know. There's not a lot of patience on people. Like I said, Pacquiao, Mayweather took years to make. Obviously, we don't want that situation. And even Hearns and Leonard took a while to make. That didn't happen overnight either. A lot of people don't remember that. The fight will happen for sure. What is the latest on this, Beeb? You made a video on this earlier at the gym.
Yeah.
Kudos to you. So tell me a little bit about what your thoughts are on this.
Well, nobody knows for sure what those 2 points were. Hearn had said that they have been addressed, but listening to Deontay Wilder in his latest interview with Michelle Joy Phelps from Behind the Gloves, he just sounded very, very upset, and he sounded very pessimistic about the fight, and he spoke a great deal about his concern about Anthony Joshua being on PEDs. Why bring that up now? So that led me to believe, is that one of the sticking points? Because Deontay Wilder is a WBC fighter, and he is part of the VADA clean boxing program, and Anthony Joshua is not, and he's not required to be because he does not hold the WBC title, or he's not ranked by the WBC. So some people have been questionable about UCAD, saying how they don't really, they're not strict or as stringent as VADA. They let things go, they make mistakes or whatever. I don't know too much about UCAD, so I can't confirm or deny those claims. They're unsubstantiated, in my opinion, to me. So I don't know what's holding this fight up. I suspect that drug testing thing may be one of them, because why would Deontay Wilder bring it up now in the 13th hour of the negotiations. They already know that the fight's going to be in the UK. They already pretty much know it's going to be on Showtime. I know there was a back and forth on Twitter between Eddie Hearn and a fan about, well, what's holding this fight up? Are you having a question of who's going to broadcast in the United States? Is it going to be on DAZN? How's this going to work? And Eddie said DAZN doesn't care whether or not the fight is, whether they get the fight or not. And that elicited a response from Steven Espinosa. Basically, he said, who wouldn't care about this fight? This is a huge fight. What do you mean they don't care about it? And I'm paraphrasing. But apparently that, the two things have been addressed, two issues. So the ball is in Wilder's court right now. It's in Team Wilder's court right now. And if we don't get an answer by the end of next week, then that's what's going on here. There's got to be something to this. The longer they wait, the worse it is. So I don't know. I mean, does Deontay Wilder really want this fight? What's his concerns about going? I mean, I'm sure he's concerned about going over the UK. Judging by what happened in Joshua's last fight, that referee was horrible. He was horrible. He was really unfair to Joseph Parker, the way he was treating Joseph Parker. I thought he appeared to be biased towards Anthony Joshua. Did that have a huge impact on the fight? I still thought Joshua was winning the fight. Could it have changed the fight much? I don't know. Some people had the fight close. I don't know. And then the early stoppage with Takam. But again, that situation with Wilder and Ortiz, and I know that is a rule with the New York State Athletic Commission that a situation where a fighter is really hurt, he has to be looked at in the beginning of the following round, which is a stupid rule because why wouldn't you just look at him, in between rounds in the corner? But I guess what happened with the Magdamev situation, that's been a rule. So I mean, regardless of where this fight is, the house fighter or the home court fighter is probably going to get a little bit more of an advantage than the other. That comes with the territory. So I don't know what's holding this fight up. It seems to be now there seems to be some reservations on Team Wilder's side. They may not like the contract. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this fight is going to be fought on Anthony Joshua's terms. Yeah. And they've made that perfectly clear. So unless concessions are made on Team Wilder, then the fight's not going to get made. Now, they're already making concessions, obviously, by taking the smaller end of the purse, which they have no choice with that. And they're already taking concessions of having the fight be in the UK. What other concessions are they being asked to make? I don't know. So we'll see what happens in the next coming days. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll hear something. We'll figure it out. But the ball it seems to be right now in Team Wilder's court.
I tell you, what's funny is that Wilder said, "Hey, I'll sign it. I'll sign whatever. We've signed it. We sent it. I'll just send me the contract. We'll sign it. Blah blah blah." All right. Well, they sent you the contract. All right. We've sent you the contract. Sign it. You agreed. You agreed to the money. I can't imagine that everything else is too different in there. But a contract of this magnitude, though, you got to look at. Looking at it and everything like that. And I mean, I don't know. I think it was sent to them. They said Monday or something like that. It's now Friday. I mean, there are some points or whatever that I think need to be cleared up. But him telling them, Anthony Joshua's on steroids or he's on PEDs or something to that effect. Come on, man. Either you're gonna fight or you're not gonna fight. Now he's the one that sounds like he doesn't want to fight.
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn from history's mistakes. Mayweather played that same card, and all it created was a deterrent and an obstacle for the fight to be getting made. And why open yourself up for a defamation suit too? It's like, why bring that up? Why do all these things right now? Why you gotta have work it out somehow that you can develop some type of working relationship and a cooperative effort to make this fight. You guys have to be on the same page. You have to work to try to be on the same page. This bickering back and forth is only causing more of a roadblock in these negotiations. It's hurting more than it's helping. So they got to stop nipping at each other's heels, and they got to actually work together and get this fight done. What do you want? What what are the non-negotiable deal points? What are the sticking points here? What do you want, Deontay Wilder, in order for this fight to get made? But again, it's going to be fought on AJ's terms.
Right.
He's only going to give you so much, and that's that.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like he doesn't like being the B-side here. He's fighting it with tooth and nail every step of the way. And in order to change that, you got to fight this guy and beat him. That's the only way it's going to change.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, though, I think the fight gets made, but I mean, clearly though, if the fight does not get made, that ball's in Wilder's court.
Right now, it is. Yeah,
that's it. Unless there was something really outlandish, like the fight's going to take place on DAZN, I can't see anything being held up. I mean, I don't know, and I guess nobody knows because we don't have the contract, obviously, but obviously when you see a contract like that, you're going to want to go over it. You don't want to make sure you don't get screwed. And there's some talking points in there, I guess. And I think that they said that Eddie Hearn has been real slow on it and everything like that. So who knows? But I tell you, I think that I do think the fight gets made. I'll be surprised if this fight doesn't get made. What about you?
Yeah, it's going to get made, but the thing is, will it drag out? Will it be dragged out? Man, that's the problem.
Yeah, will he fight in September 1st, and then that fight takes place next week?
And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm nervous because both these guys have shown vulnerabilities. What if one of them loses?
Yeah,
I'm just. Ortiz was so close to winning that fight.
He really was. It really was.
He really was. And I think Povetkin can cause some scary moments for Joshua fans in that fight if that fight happens. That's not a great style matchup for him. It really isn't. So, but you know what? They're waiting, and if they really didn't want the fight, then they would have already announced the fight with Povetkin.
They would have made the fight already.
It would have been announced already.
Yeah, they want the fight because, that's a great point. If they didn't, Povetkin would be announced. They'd already.
So, if that fight is at the end of September, then training camp would probably start
8 weeks.
In July, or maybe mid July, right? So we're close to. I think next week is July 1st next week.
Yeah.
So they got to do something. And the thing is the deal is already, the contracts and the deal have already set for the Povetkin fight if this fight doesn't come off.
Which is smart. I mean, that's what Triple G did with Saunders too. They had that fight set. That fight was solid.
Yeah. So the thing is, you got to be careful if you're Joshua that you allow yourself enough time to start camp and train. So I guess they don't care about promoting this fight with Povetkin. They're not looking for this fight to be a blockbuster event because they're cutting it close. If they're going to announce this fight in July, they're only going to have July, August, and September. They only have 3 months to promote it. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't think it needs that much to promote, honestly. I mean, especially in England, and that's where they're going to be promoting is England.
Yeah.
They're not doing any press conferences over here. If they do, maybe it'll be in New York a day or something like that. But that fight, they're not interested in making it. Like I said, it's going to England. So
I'm really curious to see if this drug testing thing is one of the stumbling blocks here.
If it is, I tell you what. If it is, I mean, because isn't Wilder? He's on. Doesn't he get tested? Or not Wilder, but Joshua get tested by England. That British board up there.
By UCAD, yeah.
Yeah. So what? I mean, if you're that concerned about it, you can get on the same board. You don't have to. You know what I mean? And that way you're on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Don't tell me he's on PEDs and you have no proof. You have no. Come on, man. That just sounds.
He did fail a PED test, I think, when he was in the amateurs at one point or something like that. He got in trouble, but again, he's if he's being tested and he's passing tests, then that's all he has to do. I mean,
yeah.
What are you going to do?
There it is.
You got to be careful when you throw accusations around if you don't have proof.
That's right. That's it. I mean, just for like when they did that with Manny Pacquiao, when everybody started throwing these Floyd was the first one that threw these accusations out or whatever for Pacquiao, and they were all unsubstantiated, completely unsubstantiated.
Correct.
You know, so I don't know. Just it makes you look.
It's one thing.
It makes you look.
It's one thing.
Look like you're ducking the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing suspecting guys, and I say I suspect everyone that on the top level. But you gotta play your position. If I'm in the midst of trying to get a fight put together, I'm not going to attack someone's credibility or be a character assassinate someone to that degree where it can come back to bite me legally. It makes no sense.
Right. So there you go. All right, moving on here. And I'm going to butcher this guy's name, and I know because we've all seen him fight and everything. Is it Kurtzides? Kurtzides?
Yeah, Kurtzide. That's how you pronounce it. Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Avtandil Kurtzide is facing up to 40 years in prison. Former interim middleweight titleist. I like the former interim. Avtandil Kurtzide was found guilty on Tuesday in New York federal court of racketeering, wire fraud, and other charges in connection with a sprawling and violent crime ring. He faces up to 40 years in prison, Beeb. His fight career is done.
Oh, he's done.
Yeah, 40 years. And we heard about this, that he was arrested. You remember we heard about this a few months ago where he was arrested. And yeah, man. So Kurtzide going up the river. They are he's actually jailed and awaiting sentencing right now.
Wow.
Yeah, good luck.
On a side note, talking about the interim status of a champion. Imagine going to work one day and say, "Hey, I'm an interim TV repairman. I'm an interim mechanic." Like what's this interim thing? You either are or you're not. Hey, I'm the interim doctor that's going to be operating on you. He had to vacate his title, so now I'm going to step in for him. Yeah, okay. You're on the operating table. And you're like, oh. I mean,
that's just like you walking in your boss's office. He's not there that day, and you saying you're the manager now.
Yeah, I'm the interim boss today. I'm sitting in his chair. Jesus Christ, interim.
Man, but 40 years, man, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
He's not getting 40 years, but let me tell you what, he's probably going to get a chunk of that. Even 10 years is a big chunk. His career's done.
Wow.
He's done. But let me ask you, Beeb, how about that's not the train wreck of the week?
I thought it was going to be the train wreck of the week.
It really should have been, because I like Bobby Ches a lot, man.
Yeah, I feel bad for Bobby Ches.
I do.
It hurts my heart to see him like that.
It does, man. Give me the train wreck of the week here.
Brianna. Come on.
Hold on.
You put other things before this. Go ahead.
Chugga, 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 chugga. Choo, choo.
Beautiful.
That was good. That was good. She changed it up. I love it. I love it. A good change up and everything. That was great. That was great.
Beautiful.
Bobby Ches is the train wreck of the week this week. We found out this week, Bobby Ches is now working at ShopRite, bagging groceries. That's right. Bobby Ches, the once famous boxer, down on his luck, man. Sad story, right, Beeb?
This guy's made upwards of in between 3 and 5 million in his career.
Wow.
And he got, what happened was got in a car accident and all of his money went to medical bills. So, but again, it's been documented. He's had numerous incidences with DWIs. He has a drinking problem that lost him his analyst job at Showtime, because back in the day he had Paulie Malignaggi's job on Showtime.
I thought he was one of the best ones.
He was damn good at it too.
Yeah,
he was damn good at it.
He was awesome.
It was sad that to see him like this, because he's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy. He's very personable. Part of Menza too. that elite group, people that have are gifted intellectually with an exceptional IQ, and you would think that that would mean something. But you know what? With all due respect, if you have a bad enough character flaw, it undermines all of your potential. And we've seen people that were extremely talented and wasted their abilities because of a bad habit that consumed them, a vice, just poor choices, and it can happen to anybody. So just because you're gifted and you have an ability, that's one thing, but you still have to harness that ability and utilize it to the best of your ability and not squander it. And Bobby Ches could have been in a much better position today if he was able to really control and conquer that problem he had with alcohol.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Man, yeah. Bobby Ches and myself, of course, members of Mensa. Joel Lopez, 40 ounce, says that working a normal job is nothing to be ashamed of, and 100% you're right. It's in New Jersey. Reese Mack just said, where is he bagging groceries? It's in New Jersey.
It's in New Jersey, yeah.
It's not, but to see where he came from and to wind up there, because this is not his first option, and that's what makes it sad. Because the guy has so much talent, so much ability, and you're right. It's not a job to be ashamed of. There's no question about that. But given what he did, what he was doing, being the analyst and everything like that, and then now he's unable to get that job because of his actions. That's what makes it a sad story. But
the sad story is the potential for Bobby Ches is much greater than being a bagger. And that's no disrespect to people who are baggers.
No.
But again, his intelligence level is miles above that. Like he should be back doing boxing, being a boxing analyst. But the problem is too, because of his DWIs, he doesn't have a license. So he's going to have an issue, traveling and going to events. Even when they fly you out to events, you still have to drive to the arena. You still have to, you need a car, and you have to rent a car. And by not having a license, you can't work. You're very limited. And the reason why he doesn't have a license is because it's been suspended because of multiple DWI offenses. So I mean, when you're here and you go all the way down here, you don't go backwards in life, you go forward. So
yeah,
that's just the way it is. I feel bad for him.
Reese Mack just said, how much do baggers make? Probably not a lot, buddy.
Well, the minimum wage in Massachusetts is $11.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you're a bagger, you make $11 an hour. You make $444 a week with taxes. You're probably taking home about $370. You tell me who can live off of $370 in this economy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough thing for him, man. I tell you what, it's a really tough thing. And like I said, man, he fought Evander Holyfield. You remember the Andrew Maynard fight when it was
correct? Yeah.
When they thought Maynard was something special and he knocked him out, man. I mean, yeah, man. Bobby Ches was the guy back then, man.
Bobby Ches, baby.
I thought he was a little bit older when he fought Holyfield. I didn't give him too much of a chance in that fight, but I mean, he was always one of those guys, man. Always one of those guys, man. So I'm really sad to see it. Hopefully he gets his life back together. The article we read, man, it was a good article. And I think it was out of a New Jersey newspaper, if I'm not mistaken. But go check it out. And because he seems really, what's funny about it is that when you hear him on the interview, he knows he's in a bad spot, but he knows he's going to work his way out of that spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's still real positive about things, which is really good to see. Like he knows he's going to make it back. It's just a time before he makes it back, and which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So good luck to Bobby Ches, man. Hopefully he comes out of it. He said something about the bare knuckle fights that have been going on.
Yeah, he's gonna try to be a commentator for that.
Yeah, he's gonna try to be a commentator on that. He's a heck of a commentator, man. He's
good. I like him.
He's great. I thought he was the best commentator, one of the best commentators they ever had. So Wasn't he on there with the Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson fight? Remember when they did the joint announcement with Jim Lampley? I think it was Jim Lampley and Bobby Ches were on.
I think he was there. Yeah, I want to say he was.
Joint broadcast before they merged or whatever. But he was on that joint broadcast with Jim Lampley. So, yeah, man, pretty cool, man. Pretty cool stuff. All right, Beeb. We talked about this earlier in the week. You and I were pretty excited about this. Creed 2.
Oh, yes.
The trailer debuts. How good does this movie look, man? Does this movie look pretty good?
This movie looks incredible. It really does.
It looks
and I like what Sylvester Stallone has done in this one. This is what makes him such a genius. He's able to leave himself in the story, but take a step back and push the other guys and the other characters. And it just makes it that much more interesting because of that. And I like the role he plays in that. And Marlon B. Jordan, man, wow. What can you say about this guy? He's
good, man.
He is an outstanding actor, and he is just really advancing his career. He's been in a lot of great movies and a lot of. I think he's on a Netflix series. Or I'm not sure if it's Netflix, but he's got another series coming up too.
Yeah,
this guy's everywhere, and he plays this role.
Black Panther, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's in Black Panther. He was, and I have to say, his character was the best character. Like it was an awesome performance.
Oh wow!
And more people are talking about his performance than Chad Boswick, and that's not to say Chad Boswick didn't do a phenomenal job too. Right. But his character was a standout performance. It really was.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess the premise of it is, as we all know, in Rocky 3, was it Rocky 3 or
Rocky 4?
Rocky 4. Rocky 4. Apollo Creed dies in the ring after facing Ivan Drago, the Russian guy. Then, of course, Rocky goes in there and I guess defends the honor, beats Drago right there in Russia. So this time, Adonis Creed looks like he will be facing Victor Drago. That's Ivan Drago's son. That guy who plays Victor Drago, man, I think he's a fighter for real. I think he's out of Romania or something like that.
Romanian boxer or something like that.
Yeah, he's something like that. Big guy. I saw like training videos of him or whatever. He looks like he's in pretty good shape. Looks like he can fight a little bit. So,
is he a heavyweight or a cruiserweight?
I don't know. He's a big guy though. He's a big guy. I don't think he's quite a heavyweight. I would be surprised.
He was like a cruiserweight to me.
Big guy, man. Real big guy.
Yeah.
But you know, the coolest part about that trailer is when you see the guy walking in and he turns around and he's in that red uniform. He's got Drago on the back of it.
Yeah,
that was really cool. That was really
powerful moment. Absolutely.
Because you're still kind of wondering like what's going on here and what's this going to be about, and then all of a sudden you see it, man, and it's like I hear Dolph Lundgren, the guy who played Ivan Drago, is in the movie also.
Oh, wow. He's in that too?
Yeah, I'm hearing he's in it too. Andre Ward is in it. I don't think Tony Bellew's in it, friend of the show.
No.
But, yeah, I guess we can't have everything. But, yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. Comes out when? Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, November. Yeah.
Yeah, and so between now and then, there'll be more previews coming out. I'll be real curious to see what the previews are because you still don't know, like, you kind of know the gist of the movie, but I want to see like more previews of it and see exactly what's going on and that kind of thing. So it is, man. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't been this excited about a boxing movie since Bleed for This came out. The Vinny Paz.
Yeah.
Movie. So there it is. Manny Pacquiao versus Lucas Matisse is still on, according to Pacquiao. Pacquiao was reported that all systems are go. So I'm not sure if the money problem has gotten filled out or whatever, or what's going on, but they seem to think the fight is still happening. So, Beeb, want to weigh in on this one?
Well, Bob Arum seems to be a little pessimistic on this fight happening. He seems to be a little skeptical because he's already lining up Terrence Crawford for Lucas Matisse if Pacquiao fight doesn't happen. And again, how are these guys going to get paid if the money hasn't been put up yet? I don't know what's going on.
Has the money been put up? I mean, is that what you're? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, but if the money hasn't been put up now, and your fight's taking place fairly soon. Tickets are being sold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something does not look right. Doesn't feel right, and let's be honest. We can't be surprised if this does not come off.
And not to mention, and I tell you what, that'll be really sad for Matisse too. Because he doesn't get paid. Everybody on that undercard doesn't get paid. What about that fight doesn't come off. And I was looking at the schedule today. It doesn't even have a TV outlet yet.
No,
not yet. And you think a fight like that? I mean, you think that they'd have a TV sponsor already, contract, something like that. So,
well, no one's gonna commit to it if they're not sure the fight's gonna happen. Why put all that advertising money in there?
Right. That's
if
true.
you don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and he wants it. Pacquiao. From what he always wants his fights on pay-per-view. Good luck with that one, man.
And then I guess that he's got issues with the United States, and he doesn't want to. He's not going to. I heard that he may never ever fight in the United States again due to his tax issues.
Is that what it is?
That's what I heard. I can't confirm it, but let's put it together. I mean, his last fight was in Australia. This fight's supposedly going to be in Indonesia.
I thought it was the tax issue in the sense that he pays less taxes overseas. That's why a pretty fair amount less.
Getting double taxed. I mean, if you're a foreign fighter and you come over here, you're getting double taxed.
Yeah, because you get taxed. Yeah, that's true.
You take the money. They tax you here. You're paying a tax here, and then you take the money back home and you convert it, and you're going to get taxed on it there.
Right.
Which is unfair. Which is very unfair.
I don't know, man.
You only have to pay taxes once.
Yeah, I didn't hear he had tax problems in the U.S. I just heard the problem with the taxes in the U.S. is that he gets raked over the coals. Well,
I don't know if he necessarily has issues with. I think if you fight in Nevada, they take the money out right away. I don't know. That's what I heard. But then when he has to go home, I have to pay double tax. I don't think he's happy with the situation of how much taxes he has to pay when he fights in the United States.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I don't think there's anything like it's going to be like a Floyd.
He gets crushed.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a Floyd situation where the IRS is just waiting for him to finish that fight, and then they're taking his check.
And does Nevada? Do they have a state tax in Nevada? I heard they don't.
I don't know. I know a lot of businesses like to go there because of the tax, something like that. Yeah.
I believe they don't have a state tax out there, if I'm not mistaken.
Jason in the chat is saying fighters don't get taxed in Nevada, but he's a buffoon, so what does he know?
Yeah, but they still got to pay the IRS. They don't have a state tax, but you still got to pay the IRS.
Right.
You got to pay. There's a federal tax. There's no state tax.
Yeah, he's saying Nevada does not. So I don't know.
They don't have a state tax, but again, Jason, you're not going to escape Uncle Sam, brother.
Yeah.
This fucking kid, man, I'm telling you, he makes it up as he goes. He makes it up as he goes along. You think you're gonna do work or have some type of event in the United States where you're making money and you're not going to have to pay the IRS? Are you kidding me?
The IRS takes tips off of waitresses, son. You don't think they're going to tax them?
Getting worse and worse, man.
Come on, son. All right. Last piece of news here. Jamie Munguia will take on Liam Smith on July 21st. The fight will take place on HBO. Beeb, this is a good fight. Solid fight right here.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
But it's going to be one-sided, though, I think.
Really?
I do. I think Munguia's going to knock him out.
Wow, okay. All right. I thought it was a good fight. Beeb moving further and further away from that British flag.
I know. It's horrible.
It is. It's unreal. The Beebs. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810 and leave him a message. Now, he's got another number that I'll give out next week because he's not here now, so we'll give it out next week that you can call, and supposedly he updates it quite a bit or whatever, but for right now, you can listen to him on there. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.
And we apologize for the blog talk issues. We will probably have it fixed by next week.
Hashtag we hate blog talk.